All right, good morning. It is Thursday, August 2nd, and we're going to do a little WCW history here in a minute. So, a couple comments I got on some recent videos. One guy says, "Oh, Jim, you say you work out, but you're not growing." Well, to be honest with you, I can counterpoint that. It's not about being the biggest and the buffest guy in the room. It's not about that. It's not about being bigger than the guy next to you. It's not about impressing the girl because you got big arms. It's not about that. If you're working out to impress other people, your priorities are completely mixed up. That's not why you work out. You work out for your mind to get mental clarity, and you work out for yourself to challenge yourself. And that's it. That's the goal. Anybody in the world can jump on trend and go to the gym 4 hours a day and get bigger. But it's the guys who can work out on the days where they feel like shit. It's the guys who can still get their work in on the days when they work 10, 12 hours and they know they're going to train that day. That's what this is truly about. It's pushing yourself and testing yourself. Not so much about being the biggest guy in the room. It's not about that. When I got into weightlifting about 2.5 years ago, I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to be so big, I'm going to be so huge, I'm going to make all these gains. And after a while, I started realizing this is for me. And it's not a competition if you get the biggest arms, if you're the strongest guy. It's not about that. You're building it up for yourself. It's something, it's a clean, safe activity where nobody gets hurt. You're not hurting nobody. You're not doing nothing wrong. And that's it. So that's my clarification for that. And I don't really give a shit if I'm the biggest guy in the room or not, because I just do this for myself. I ain't doing it for nobody else. I ain't doing it for the hot blonde at the bar. I ain't doing it to impress the guy next to me who thinks I have big arms. I'm not doing it for them. I do it for me. And if you do it out of ego and out of vain, then your priorities are mixed up. Let's see, so that was one. And then the other guy, he wrote a comment. He says, shut up. Babe, I'm busy. He says, well, your channel, or what was it? Your channel is sinking quicker than the Titanic. It's fine, because at one time we went back to priorities. Priorities was views, subs. I need to check it 40 times a day to see if anyone's. Who cares? Once you make the videos, just for the sake of making them, for the guys who can listen to the words and enjoy, you'll get clarity over everything. Not worrying about being a viral star. Who cares? If you got an audience that enjoys listening to some of the old stuff you say about WCW, then great. You built up an audience with, you know, people who are feeling you more so than fake subs. You don't need to be a social influencer to be a good person. So that's my rant on that. So anyways, here we go with the video. So I'm gonna take you back to the magical time in WCW in 1995. I want to say it's around February, March of 95. I'm sitting there and I'm watching WCW Saturday night 1 week. And, you know, I don't think they had Nitro yet, not till September of 95. They didn't have Nitro yet. So the only way you could see WCW was on Saturdays, and our show on Sundays. So I always watched WCW Saturday night 95 to see what was going on with Hogan in the Dungeon of Doom. And, you know, Dungeon of Doom and Hulk were going back and forth. As normal. They went on for like a year. All of a sudden I see Hogan come on WCW Saturday night, and next week he promises the ultimate surprise. And me being, you know, a big Ultimate Warrior fan at the time, I'm thinking, oh man, this is crazy. The Ultimate Warrior's going to WCW. And I was pumped, man. I didn't really want to order Uncensored 95 where he was promised to debut. I didn't really want to order it. But I was like, man, if the Warrior's gonna come out, I gotta order WCW Uncensored 95. And so for weeks, the ultimate surprise is coming, the ultimate surprise. And we're all pumped up. I mean, because Warrior was out of WWF at the time. Warrior had been off the scene since like late 92. No one had seen him, no one had heard from him. And all the rest of the fans are pumped. We're all thinking, Ultimate Warrior, this is incredible, this is incredible. Because I always want a Warrior to come back, have the same magic he had in the early 90s in WCW. I was like, this is amazing. Every single pay-per-view during that era, I always wanted the Warrior to run out, just like he did at WrestleMania 8 and he never did. So anyway, so I'd tell my dad, because he was the one paying the bills at the time. I was only 14, 15 years old. I'd tell my dad, like, Dad, we gotta get WCW Uncensored 95. Ultimate Warrior's coming back. Ultimate Warrior's coming back. Hulk said that he's gonna have the ultimate surprise. It's gotta be the Warrior. It can't be anyone else. So we get to the pay-per-view, and I'm really expecting the Warrior to come back and help Hogan defeat the Dungeon of Doom at the end. I'm thinking this is legit gonna happen, and I'm gonna get this dream of the Warrior finally coming back. We were all Ultimate Warrior fans in the early 90s. So we get to the pay-per-view. In the pay-per-view, first 4 or 5 matches are really, really bad. I mean, awful. I'm watching Dustin Rhodes fight the Blacktop Bully in the back of the truck, and it was rough. It was not enjoyable. And then I watched Harlem Heat and the Nasty Boys fight all over the building in a food fight, and you know, a couple matches. I think Hacksaw might have been in there with a tape fist match. It might have been like a lights out match versus, I want to say, the Boss Man, something like that. A couple tag team matches. Then you get to the main event, and I can't remember who Hogan was fighting. Maybe Vader, maybe Flair. I don't really remember, but you're in there, and then all of a sudden Hogan's fighting and it's getting beat up on by bad guys, and then you hear the music hit, and you're not sure, because the music sounds a little different from Jim Johnson's WWF Warrior music. It sounds a little different. You're like, okay, cool, it's WCW, so they probably use different music. And all of a sudden you see come running out a small mini version of the Warrior called the Renegade, and you knew it wasn't the Warrior. You knew it was a cheap knockoff. The guy was about half as big as the Warrior. Did the same gimmick, shaped the ropes, painted his face, and you know, Hogan's doing his best to sell it in the ring, like this is just as good as the Ultimate Warrior and whatnot. But when you're watching this, you know, I think I remember my words to my dad was, Dad, WCW just ripped us off. WCW just scammed us big time, and you know, Uncensored 95 is going to go down as a scam big time. When you promise the ultimate surprise and you bring out a little mini version, God rest his soul, the Renegade, and that ruined his career too. You know, I mean, that ruined his career. I mean, his career was never the same because he was just known as the Warrior knockoff. That legit ruined his career. It ruined WCW Uncensored 95. He didn't last long. I think he went on and did a match with maybe Paul Orndorff at Bash at the Beach 95, maybe a match, maybe a year or 2 years, and I think he did a match at Bash at the Beach 96. But this was, whew, they worked us on this one. We got scammed big time on Uncensored 95. Everybody knew the history with Hogan and the Warrior from WrestleMania 6. And eventually he did come to WCW, but the ultimate surprise turned out to not be such a fantastic surprise at all. It actually turned out to be a very angering pay-per-view. I've had a couple real angering pay-per-views that I ordered from the early 90s. Let's see, SummerSlam 93, when Luger rode on a bus for 6 months and then he won the match by what, a count out. That was bad. SummerSlam 93 was a Royal Rumble 94 where we all wanted to see Undertaker beat Yokozuna in a casket match, and then like 20 bad guys jumped on the Undertaker and they floated him up to the top of the building, supposedly kill him. That was bad. Royal Rumble 94 was bad. Uncensored 95, that was rough. I mean, WCW just had some really bad pay-per-views in the early 90s. Uncensored 96, Uncensored 95 was really rough to watch. That company was in rough shape. SummerSlam 93, Royal Rumble 94 were bad, but Uncensored 95 might go down as one of the worst pay-per-views in professional wrestling. So type of comments below. Let me know if you're an old schooler like myself. Let me know what you remember about the ultimate surprise. I'll see you guys. Thank you.